If you're looking for more horror outside of the mainstream, look no further than Unsung Horrors, a podcast about underseen horror movies. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica. Every other week, we'll cover a horror movie with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. We'll even give you double feature recommendations to pair with the movies we discuss.
From gothic to shot on video, from slashers to comedies, from giallo to J-horror, we'll cover all the subgenres. So join us as we unearth these hidden gems of horror.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Weirding Way Media.
Night, Mr. Walters.
You see that guy over there? No, he's an actor. The guy on the phone, he's a prize fighter. Me, I'm a cab driver. I'm the only cab driver in this place.
Good evening and welcome to Night, Mr. Walters, a taxi podcast. I'm HP, your co-host, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Father Malone. Father Malone, how are you this evening?
HP, we got a 50% chance of a sure thing here tonight.
We're talking Taxi Season 2, Episode 22, Artwork. This was written by the Charles brothers, the pride of Henderson, Nevada. This is Glenn Charles and Les Charles, of course, and directed by the erstwhile James Burrows. Reminder, we're doing these shows in broadcast order and not in order of filming. We open in the garage as Tony positively bounds in Father Malone. He rushes in excitedly. We've seen a few times he's rushed in very excited about something long-headed, haven't we?
Oh, yeah. And this reason is the best ever.
I actually like this setup. He says he's going to make everybody rich. Rich, I tell you. He's got a tip on a fight, you see. He can't lose. He overheard someone at the gym talking about a fighter named Johnson that has a broken hand, but he needs the money, so he's still going to fight. And this gets Alex, Bobby, and even Jim reaching for their wallets. They're slavering because
Wait, no, Jim is no
stranger.
stranger. Even Jim is no stranger to the gambling thing. Look, he went and bought a horse with the money he won from gambling.
True, but it's not as if he's an inveterate gambler. He goes with the flow, I think, a little bit.
I just wonder about him enjoying boxing, being the burnout hippie that he was and is.
Very much a pacifist, you would guess. He would maybe be opposed to the idea of a blood sport, I think.
Particularly one where he knows one of the contestants has a broken hand and he'll be profiting off of that.
Tony asks Slotka if he wants in too. And Elaine, looking very chic, by the way, in a purple jacket with a matching scarf. Thought it was a good outfit. What did you think?
I did not like it.
Because of the blue and purple mix?
Yeah, I did not like that mix, and it seemed ill-fitting on her. And I might be allowing my perception of her characterization here to reflect upon the outfit, because I didn't like. I hate when they make Elaine the nag, the mom character of the garage, which is what they start out with her here.
I don't disagree, but as we're going to see, this is an art gallery focused episode. And I think when she has these art gallery situations, they like to give her a little more of an upscale, chic look. And I think that's why she looks so trendy in this, I think.
Well, I wasn't complaining about the trendiness, just the fit. It seems not tailored very well.
Oh.
It's too loose. Basically, I just want her in skin tight clothes. Let's face it, Age.
When she sees Latka getting involved, that's when her motherly instincts come in. And but to your point, she becomes a bit of a nag. Although I will say that in this case, she's not nagging so much as expressing a lot of concern. She doesn't harangue Alex like she's done in the past. She doesn't get upset. She just says, guys, why are you involving Latka? He doesn't have a lot of money. He's sending the money back home to his country. She seems concerned rather than nagging to what I'm seeing. I don't know.
Okay, how about this? She's a wet blanket. I hate when she's a wet blanket. I'd like for her to just go, that's great, guys. I hope you make a lot of money. And then you know what you should do with that money afterwards? Invest in art. Because I got a scam going on the side. Let's go.
Again, she points out Latka doesn't have a lot of money. He doesn't even know what he's betting on. But Tony is undeterred. He's excited. He says it's a sure thing.
By the way, the other thing is not even the mothering, not the nagging, but constantly treating Latka like he's a child is kind of insulting. He was just about to go back home and kill his former neighbors. He can handle a bet on a boxing match. He's not going to bet his life savings. They're not going to let him do that.
Probably not, but
even Wheeler would stop him from doing that.
Sure, he will continue to be the wide-eyed naif of the group until Simca gets into the picture. I think I'd have accepted that.
I think if Reverend Jim can hang with them, then so can Latka. They're not steering him wrong, and they could easily do it with Jim.
That is interesting. I wonder why she doesn't advocate for Jim in the same way that she advocates.
She did in the exact same way, and then Jim ended up winning enough to buy a racehorse.
Well, that's true. Latka is confused, and he asks Alex what he would do if he were Latka. And this, I gotta say, I love this because it was a nice little bit of comedic foreshadowing, I'll call it. What it leads to is Alex doing this little quick impression of Latka responding to Elaine. Now, it's not the best Latka impression that he's always done, but physically, I thought he did a wonderful job with the mannerisms. And what's interesting is Latka will eventually become Alex during his struggles with dissociative identity disorder another season or two down the road. How did you find? I know we talked in the last episode about Alex, the many faces of Alex. What did you think of his impression of Latka?
I liked the impression. I thought him launching into it felt hacky and sitcom-y. The transition there just didn't feel, it felt forced. Also, the shuffle he does over to Louis, or rather to Elaine, made me think of Charlie Chaplin more than Latka. So then I was thinking about Latka and Charlie Chaplin and their similarities. And then I was just it took me out of the scene, HB. It was a good impression, but it left me elsewhere than focused on the plot. So maybe that digression wasn't necessary.
His shuffle was a little bit Chaplin-esque. I agree with you there. In retrospect, it does look like Charlie Chaplin. I don't know. I was charmed by it. And anyway, Latka says he's in with the bet, and Bobby goes
wait. No. Wait.
Okay. What did I miss?
We're not done with this impression yet. How much of that was a fuck you to Andy Kaufman from either the writers or the other performers? Also, the line, you can make fun of it, but I know people who talk like that, is a really good, funny line that Latka throws back at him after the impression.
They've gone on record after the fact, interviews, all the actors on Taxi. They've talked about what a handful Andy Kaufman was. So yeah, I could see that being a little bit of gentle ribbing on their part to give it back, because he was known for falling into these characters and becoming these characters like Foreign Man and Elvis and all of this, and Tony Clifton, of course. So yeah, maybe.
I mean, it might not necessarily be so. There is precedent on this show of characters impersonating other characters. We had Bobby Wheeler doing it for Louis at one point.
Yeah. So yeah, that was first season. Yeah.
In the grand tradition of Bobby Wheeler impersonating him, we'll have Alex impersonate Latka. Meanwhile, fuck you, Andy.
The scene is just a little nothing, but I just thought it was clever. Nevertheless, Latka says he's in on the bet, and Bobby goes to call it in at the payphone. But of course, in true Taxi fashion, Bobby learns on the phone that both fighters are named Johnson. So there's no way for them to know which fighter is going to be they should be betting on because they're both named Johnson. So the sure thing goes out the
but
window.
here's the thing. Now you got to. There are going to be odds for each of the fighters, right?
But I don't think it's as sophisticated as you're thinking of it now. We're talking about some,
Like if you bet
you know,
$5 on each fighter, right? What is the ratio of loss to win there?
you mean if you put an even amount on both?
Yeah, I put $5 on both guys. I'm definitely going to lose $5, but will I win 10? And if so, that's just even money, right? But if it was like a 10-1 thing, so you were going to win $50 and then you walk away with 45, that's still a pretty good bet.
Could be. And Jim actually, as part of a joke, that's exactly what he says to do. We should put money on both. We have 50% odds on a sure thing. So he's probably not far off, I guess. I don't know how the odds would work. We're talking about, I mean, gambling is still illegal at this point in New York. So you've got, it's probably some shady bookie who knows where he's pulling his odds from or who his odds maker is. So it may not be quite as cut and dried, but it might have been worth the shot. Anyway,
I
it
mean,
never.
can you just do that across the board? Bet on both?
No, because then everybody would do it, and there'd be
That's
no
what I'm
art.
saying. Are there things in place to keep people from doing this? Like,
Because I don't think it's as simple as, well, I will lose my initial bet on the one hand, but the other side, because the way the odds work, the other side, the odds may be terrible. So you're not going to get even
right.
money back. You're probably going to, it may be you bet $1 to win 50 cents. I just have to assume that if it was that easy to do and that cut and
Right. Somebody
dried,
would
that
have
everybody would do
done
it.
it. Yeah. And it would all already be a corrupted business.
More so than it already is. So Tony's sure thing is out the window. They can't they can't possibly go through with it. And Elaine, of course, being to your parlance, the wet blanket, she can't help but smile at this turn of events. She launches into this speech about how she sees the cabbies miss every day on so-called sure things, but at the art gallery, this is where the art gallery comes in, she sees the rich getting richer all the time. They're always gambling and they always hit. Just once, Elaine says she wants to see them win for a change. And this
This
sort of
is like
piques.
Ocean's 11. She's like putting the team together here at HBO. You know?
Yeah.
Why are we going
But
for this piddling bullshit? We should be going for a big score. We're taking the same risk.
it's fun in that way. You're right, because as she's launching into this sort of little monologue, like Alex is actually intrigued, and he says, "Well, how can they do that?" And Elaine replies by, "Well, by making intelligent investments." Elaine says she finds paintings that she knows. Now, see, here's the. But before I go into this, I thought Elaine was just working in like a secretarial role at the art gallery. Am I mistaken on this, Father Malone?
No, you're not. She certainly wasn't an appraiser.
Well, and but she's painting this picture. She says she finds paintings that she knows will go up in value. She gets other people to invest in them, and then they become rich. To my way of thinking, that she's appraising artwork. She's like a broker of art. That seems a little out of her sphere of influence. I don't know. Maybe it's me.
Um, you know, people in that position are making a commission that would alleviate the need to be a cab driver.
Even if she's making, let's call it a 5% commission, right? So 5%. So if somebody makes $100,000, right? She stands to make a $5,000 commission, if my math is right. That's good money. Now that's good money. That's great money in 1980. So why the hell is she still driving a cab?
She's not, and or rather, she has to be because the writers have fucked this up because they should have just kept her as a receptionist, and she could say something to the effect of, "Listen, I'm not the appraiser there, but 9 times out of 10, I know what it is, and he doesn't. No one listens to me there yet, but I know."
You're 100% right. They could have very easily patched this hole in the logic by saying, I sit there, I listen, I see what they're betting on, and I know that they're wrong. And my sure things are always hitting, but I don't have the money to spend or the clout to make my opinion really known. So, and that would have actually given her the motivation to push forward with this scheme with the cabbies, because then it really is an Ocean's 11 type of situation where she's trying to get ahead just once.
And it's above board and would only further her career there if she proves that, she can play with them.
Would have been great. But as it stands, I'm willing to overlook it because I liked where this episode is going. Alex correctly points out to Elaine that if she does it for these people, she could just as easily do it for them or for herself, for that matter. Elaine backs off at this point. She says that she doesn't like to look at art that way. Alex continues to try to persuade her, but
Go work at a museum. That's what he should have said. Oh, yeah? Why are you in a fucking art gallery then? Why are you dealing with art that's making fucking millions of dollars? What are you talking about right now, Elaine? You don't want to make money at this?
well, for all of her professed love of purity of art, the the fact that she even admits that she's kind of played the odds with the art market, so to speak, it proves to me that she's not above this at all. I think she's just, I don't know, she gets cold feet because she doesn't want to prove to the cabbies that maybe shouldn't have quite the clout that she indicates. I don't know. Maybe it's something like that. Alex keeps trying to persuade her. She says she doesn't want to use art to make money. She loves it. And the rest of the cabbies start plotting how much money they could pool together for this scheme, even though Elaine's kind of not really into it. Elaine is firm. She's not doing it. End of story. And this is where Alex again pulls out the old reverse psychology trick, where he sort of stops and says, "You know what? I think you were just showing off for us, Elaine. You don't know people in art. You don't." And incredibly, Elaine takes the bait almost immediately. Did you notice that? She doesn't, she should understand what Alex is trying to put over on her, don't you think?
She always falls for this.
She seems to. Maybe she trusts
She will
Alex
fall
too
for
much.
it again in the next episode. She does. So yeah, this is a thing.
Anyway, Elaine, like I said, she takes the bait and she counters that, you know what? I know of an opportunity right now that would be a great investment opportunity. There's an artist named Max Duffin who must be some member of the crew somewhere,
Oh, yeah.
right? A director who's going to be huge. She says they could get a painting at auction for $2,000. And by the end of the year, it'll be worth $5,000. Now, back to my favorite website, amortization.org. $2,000 in 1980, Father Malone, would be worth $8,000 in 2024. That's big money. That's a lot of money for them to pull together, just these cabbies. And $5,000, let's say the investment caps off at $5,000 return, that would be a cool $20,000 in 2024 money. That's pretty good. Split 4 or 5 ways or whatever. That's not bad. That is big money.
That is big money.
Bobby gets even more excited, saying they could really make a fortune if they continue to do this. Elaine says, well, not a fortune, maybe $100,000 a piece, which again would be $400,000 in 2024 money.
Can I
Split
just say
amongst
that we're so close to the end of this season that this kind of pointed to a direction that the show could be in, where they're all trading art while driving cabs for an entire season. It could be like, taxi and art. And so they mainly cruise the museum district.
picking up artists and getting
They're going to
tips
the
on art.
Going to the art school,
Alex makes an impassioned plea to a stubborn Elaine to try and get her to agree to this caper. He breaks out a recitation of a poem called If by Rudyard Kipling, which I can't claim to be familiar with Kipling, but in a funny bit, Jim basically takes over the recitation perfectly, much to his own surprise, because he wraps up and he says, "How do I know that?" So I thought that was good. I loved seeing Christopher Lloyd involved anyway, and it's just funny to see him take over this poem that Alex is reciting. And apparently Elaine is amused too, because she finally decides to help all the cabbies. Bobby asks if she's sure it'll work, and Elaine admits that ghoulishly Duffin is an old man in bad health And when he dies, his artwork will go up in value. So this is the definition of a sure thing, in her opinion.
We'll
Right.
remember you forever, Eddie.
This whole scheme is now piquing Louis's interest, as one would expect. And he asks for more details on Duffin's health. Because Louis figures that buying one of Duffin's paintings is like betting that he's going to die, which is actually kind of the core of Elaine's scheme, right? She knows this guy's in bad health. Once he kicks the bucket, the painting's going to skyrocket and they'll make money. Simple.
It's a more refined Deadpool. The original Deadpool, what that actually was people would bet on who was going to die that year. That's what a Deadpool actually is, folks. Remember that movie, The Deadpool?
Oh, with Clint Eastwood? Is that the last Dirty Harry movie?
That is the last Dirty Harry movie, and that's about people betting on celebrities who are going to die, and then somebody actually killing the people on the list.
Yeah. Liam Neeson was this director in that, right? He's directing music videos. Didn't he? He gets killed, I think.
He
Or he's in
does.
on it. Yeah.
Well, is he? Is he? I forget. I do remember that Jim Carrey is the star of the music video, lip syncing to Guns N' Roses' "Welcome to the Jungle."
I remember that. Yeah.
I also remember seeing at the time Slash interviewed about the song appearing in the film, and he said, "Oh no, that's cool," but they had some like fucking dweeb like singing the song in the movie.
So one of the all-time great comedic actors now. Slasher's in the movie. He has a little cameo in the Deadpool.
Gonna have to rewatch the Deadpool.
Yeah. That was a good movie, but that wasn't like they had gotten so far from
Oh
the
my!
notion of Harry Callahan, the character, the sort of break all the rules. It was just a cop movie, but it was good, right?
Remember when at the end of the first film he throws his badge away and quits the force?
Good call on the Deadpool. Because now you say Deadpool and everybody just thinks of Ryan Reynolds and the character, the merc with a mouth. Speaking of mouths, big mouths, Louis wants in, but everybody refuses. Louis maintains that he's got a bankroll that can help them score the painting. Elaine calls for a discussion amongst the other cabbies. They try to hash out how much money they have to pool for this.
Here's one of my favorite parts of the episode. Alex confessing he doesn't have that much money because of all the skiing he's been doing. I loved it.
It's a nice callback to the last couple of episodes where he's actually been, he's been on his ski trip and he got back and whatever.
Can I say this?
So yeah,
it also puts Alex on more even footing with the other cabbies in my mind, because in that first season, they took pains to show how stable he was, that like he had a reserve of money that he could lend out to people if necessary. Now knowing he's basically like everyone else living check to check, I'm like, oh, that I don't know. It adds another dynamic to the show.
I agree. And even just the notion that he's in on all of this betting and even the Tony Shore thing at the very beginning, that to me, I think they've done a good job in this season, especially bringing him, to your point, on the same level as the rest of the cabbies. He's no longer just this unimpeachable voice of reason that they all go to. I think he's a more human as a result. And I like that about this season. I agree.
If the Daredevil episode had been about Bobby Wheeler, who would have cared? But it works because it's Alex Rieger.
Another great point. All together, they can only come up with $700 and they need $2,000 to buy this painting at auction. So reluctantly, they take a final vote and Louis is in as we cut to commercial. We cut back. We've got a new piece of B-roll that we haven't seen before, Father Malone. This one was interesting. It's the windows of an art gallery at night. Did you look at this to try and figure out, like I did, what this actually was in real life?
I did not. I was leaving
You did
this
not?
up to you. I'm very busy these days. I can't be freeze framing and zooming in and then doing picture searches online for a taxi anymore, brother.
I've spent far too much time doing this, and I don't have any great revelation, I have to say. It appears to be the Ryan Gallery, REYN Gallery. The number on the window is 680, but try as I might, I couldn't find that. There was some information on a Ryan Gallery in the 80s. A lot of paintings appraised through this art gallery, but there's really not much info that I could find beyond that.
I won't hold it against you. It was
No, that's okay.
I don't think we're even going to see that footage ever again.
Probably. Well, maybe. I think there's going to be more hijinks at the art gallery at some point. So maybe we will, maybe we won't. But
Oh,
I,
but
I
Burroughs could
was
always do a weird freeze frame and then a zoom into that freeze frame.
true. I just thought it was a missed opportunity because it's rare that you get such a clear view of the name, a facade, or a place they're going to visit, and a street number. But for some reason, I mean, Google just doesn't work anymore. I don't know, but I couldn't find any more information on it. It's too bad. So we cut inside where Elaine, Bobby, and Alex walk into the auction as Elaine signs in. Side note, Elaine is looking very powerful in a blue suit, like a power suit, where Alex is wearing kind of a light brown suit. Usually he wears the dark brown. We've seen him in the dark brown when Zena's parents had them over for dinner. That's what he was wearing. He looks okay. But somehow, Father Malone, I don't know if you noticed this, Bobby is looking so schlumpy. He's got a brown houndstooth blazer and rust colored tie. Where's the fashion plate? No cowboy attire? What's going on with Bobby?
I know what he is his Viking helmet out for polishing. Like what is this bullshit?
His fashion can be hit or miss, but even the misses, you can see he's grasping for something trendy. There's nothing trendy. It's all ill-fitting and it doesn't look good on him at all. It's just very, very bad look for him.
This smacks Jeff Conaway walks onto the set super late and they just go, get out there.
Speaking of Bobby, he remarks about the thrill in coming into contact with great art, but Elaine tempers his excitement by saying the art in the lobby is just prints and reproductions. It's all pretty much worthless. The real art is in the other room, which we'll see in a minute. I have things to say about that. Louis and Latka walk in. Louis has his customary gray suit, pink shirt, while Latka is in an ill-fitting salmon-colored suit with huge lapels. It kind of looked like, do you remember My Cousin Vinny when Vinny's suit got mud splashed on it and he had to go, the only suit he could find was at like the used clothing store or something, and it was like a foghorn leghorn kind of a suit. It kind of looked like that a little bit. Did you notice that?
Yes, you mean like the 70s, man. You mean like
Yeah. You kind of, yeah, I guess that's ultimately what it is.
you know what looks great is Reverend Jim.
Well, we're getting to him. Tony and Jim stroll in. Somehow, by the way, Tony is the easiest, breeziest of all of them. He's got a blue suit, no tie. He looks very cool but sharp. I thought he looked sharp. Now, Jim, however, has made his Canadian tuxedo literal. He's got a tie on, and Bobby asks, "Well, why didn't you wear the suit that I?" Maybe that's why Bobby doesn't have a suit, because he loaned his suit to Reverend Jim to wear, and Jim says it didn't fit. But wouldn't you know it, they share the same necktie size. So, haha.
And here we are besmirching the name of Jeff Conaway when it's explained in the episode why he is wearing an ill-fitting outfit.
Yeah, but I don't buy that. I don't buy that Bobby would give his best outfit to Reverend Jim to wear. I think he's giving him, like, he's going to the back of the closet going, God, when did I buy this? This will, maybe Jim can make something out of this. Elaine ushers them into the auction hall where there's an assemblage of people already seated. But here, I'm curious what your impressions were. I got to hand it to the set decoration yet again. It's entirely believable. There's a lectern where the auctioneer is going to stand. There's a row of flowers in front of the little stage. But the most clever thing I thought was there's a center carpet line running all the way to the back of the stage effectively. And what it does is it gives the illusion that this room is actually twice as big. Like this is a center aisle, like you would have at like a wedding or a function hall. So I thought it was really effective and it worked for me. What did you think of the auction hall?
I didn't even register it was a set. I liked it so much.
It was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny because it's been a while since they've wowed us with a off-site set. But yeah, no, I like this one a lot.
Yeah, it was good. So the cabbies come in, they try and act cool. They file past the painting they're going to bid on, and Louis and Tony express some surprise that a painting like this would be worth so much. It's just like an abstract picture. There's nothing really interesting about it. Tony remarks, "It's untitled. For $2,000, you'd think they'd throw in a name." So Tony, ever the simpleton. After some more banter about the painting, they take their seats, but the front row is filled, and Louis does the old coughing fit routine, which clears out the first two rows of seats, and the cabbies take their place for the auction.
Ever done that? Ever done something like that, HP?
Oh, all the time. Well, it's less necessary now. For example, I would do it most often when I went to the movies before they had assigned seats that you could get the seat you wanted. So yeah, I did that all the time. What about you?
I don't know that I did the coughing fit, but pre-pandemic when I was flying a lot, if it wasn't going to be a full flight and I didn't want someone to sit next to me, I certainly would take the vomit bag out and just sort of have it on my lap and like look nervously at everyone who was looking at potentially sitting next to me. And good Lord, they would just keep on moving.
Much more subtle and effective, I think. So they sit down, and Elaine is fretting about the projected value of the painting. It's projected to go between 1,000 and 1,800 bucks. And she again goes back to Louis and asks if he has any more cash, but he says he's sunk everything into it. She says, "You always talk about having money." And he says, "Yeah, I have money, but most of my cash is sunk in investments." Despite his better judgment, Alex asks about these investments. And do you remember what his big investment that he describes is, Father Malone?
It's like a nursing home, right?
Yeah, it's a nursing home in Jersey. So the auction starts, and the first painting is a nude, which just the hearing about it gets the simpleton Banta all excited. "Oh yeah," I think he goes, "Yes," like one of those.
Can't take him anywhere. You know what? He's the best looking. He's the sharpest, as you said, looking, and then clearly the dumbest. Just can't help himself.
What I love, and what we should probably just mention as this is all going, is, and maybe this is a little foreshadowing for the Yellow Lights piece, but I got to say, I love the whole ensemble is gathered in service of this scheme that they have going. And it's such a delight. Tony seems like he's excited about it. Everybody is pitching into the comedy, and it's very, very funny. And I don't know, it's rollicking, and I'm really, really here for it. What did you think so far?
I'd like to amend my earlier idea of a season of them art brokering and instead a season of them as art thieves. Because I agree with you. I love seeing them together and doing their thing.
We harp on this every single episode of when we're rating the episode. Well, I say it all the time. Well, there's not a lot of interaction between the cabbies, or this cabbie's missing, or this actor's missing. But this is, it's so wonderful that they're all together. They're all funny. They're all pitching in. They have their little bits. It's just wonderful. I at this point, I'm just loving the episode. Anyway, like I said, there's this reveal of this nude painting, and it's an abstract kind of cubist image, but Jim stands up in surprise and says, "My God, I know her." And it's a completely unrecognizable, it doesn't even look like a human being. Of course, Jim is going to go, "I know her." I thought it was hilarious.
That line made me flashback because that bit was used on WLVI TV 56 and their advertising for Taxi. That was one of the little clips that they used. My God, I know her.
We fade out and we fade back in, giving the impression that some time has passed, and now their painting is coming up for bidding. Louis figures a good strategy is to make it sound like the painting is garbage. So he starts carrying on. He's blowing raspberries and saying stuff like, "Yikes, how did that get in here?" It's great. Louis / Danny DeVito, he's awesome in this. They're all great, but he's really funny. The bidding for this painting starts at $1,000, and Elaine is following with her paddle the increasing bidding. It's basically between her and an older gentleman behind them who keeps outbidding her. Pretty quickly, the bidding increases to the cabbie's limit of $2,000. But at the last minute, it looks like they're going to get it. But then at the last minute, this other bidder goes up to 2,100, and Louis makes a threat that this guy better not spend his twilight years at Sunset Acres, which I think is the place in Jersey they referenced. Eventually, the painting is just priced out of their reach entirely, and Louis actually lunges at that other bidder in frustration. He's just so upset. I think it sold for $2,900 in total. And then immediately after the gavel falls on the painting, somebody rushes in and whispers to the auctioneer, and he then makes this announcement to the assembled gathering that Max Duffin died earlier that morning, which I think at that point Louis is moaning in just anguish at this. So this is yet another. I mean, what we're seeing here, basically, Father Malone, and I'm surprised you haven't mentioned this. This is another aspirational episode.
Here's why I would have brought this up in Yellow Lights. Here's why I didn't bring it up. Because 9 times out of 10 aspirational episodes on this show are about one character trying to get out of the garage. This is the group just trying to get ahead. No one's escaping the life. No one's getting rich. No one's fulfilling their career goals here. They're just all pulling together in one direction. So that kind of aspiration is very welcome.
True. This was never going to change their lives, any one cabbie's lives, immeasurably. This was going to be a nice side hustle for them and maybe help them get over some of the hard times. But so I agree with you there. This isn't aspirational in the truest sense. And now we fade. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped ahead.
Don't skip ahead. Got to deal with the maudlin part of this episode.
Well, no, we're getting to it. No, but I liked it. I liked it. So we cut to the lobby of this auction house, and Louis is just kicking himself, forever believing that this was going to work. I think he says something to the effect of, for you cabbies, losing is a way of life, but for me, it's bad for my system. He makes a lot of other loser cracks at the rest of the cabbies, and Bobby reckons this is no great revelation, but he says that this proves you got to have money to make money. And he gets up and suggests they all go to Mario's for a beer. And they're all filing out. But then Alex says, no, I want to stay. I want to check out the artwork. He says, I came here to buy a piece of art, and I'm going to buy a piece of art. Even if it's not original, he wants to buy something he likes. Bobby agrees, and then the rest of the cabbies all come on board, and they all start browsing through these reproductions of art and paintings and things. And Alex is looking at a bust of, it's like Plato or Aristotle or something. I couldn't tell. And he decides to buy it. And throughout the whole scene, here's the maudlin part. Elaine is looking at all the cabbies with an almost motherly pride, because in her mind, I'm sure she's saying they get it now. They're appreciating the art for something greater than just something to make money off of.
No, that's not the maudlin part. The maudlin part was Alex buying that fucking statue. That's the maudlin.
How is that maudlin?
It just seems so, I don't know. It just seemed like a button. I don't know. For whatever reason, HP, that seemed tacked on. Everyone, if they hadn't done that and then they cut to everyone bought a painting, for some reason that would have been more impactful for me.
I will say Alex is very childlike about his fascination with this bust. Like, he picks it up and says, all right, come on, we're going to leave now. I don't know. There's something very totemic in his approach to this bust. It was a little weird, but I didn't think it was maudlin. I thought it was a little weird, but I was fine with it because he's trying to get out of himself a little bit and make the best of a bad situation. So I thought it was fine.
I know, look, you know what, man? I would have bought a piece of artwork too. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not bagging on the situation. I just felt like they needed us to feel better right then and there. So that's what we got, because they didn't win. And, I don't know, whatever.
I mean, but how else do you end it? You just have them go to Mario's and say, well, that's it. Yeah, you got to have something. No.
Well, and no, they go to Mario's and then they start appraising the paintings in Mario's. Like, oh my God, look at that thing. Tommy, you take that down. We gotta get this place looking better, man.
That is so gauche, Tommy. Where did you get that? We fade back into the garage, and the cabbies have set up sort of a makeshift art gallery of all the artwork that they bought at the auction. And Elaine is going from person to person, giving her nodding of approval. And according to Lovies in the official Taxi fan guide, the actors were given their choice of paintings from a small selection to reflect their character's personality, which is why these are all so...
I wish we had seen the full gamut of what they were allowed to choose from to see what was left behind, honestly. That's as important as what they chose.
The artwork they chose is all very on the nose, right? So we start off with
One
a
of one
lot.
of those paintings, HP, I love. Can I just say that?
I agree. I wonder if it's the same thing.
It
Is it?
must
Is it?
be.
It's got to be Bobby's, right?
It's Bobby Wheeler's painting.
Of course, it's
fucking
Bobby's.
great, man.
So we start off with Latka, and Latka has bought a watercolor of the nation's capital, which it makes sense because he's the immigrant who believes in America. Whatever.
It's terrible. Anyway, next.
It's bad. And then the next one, Tony has picked out the biggest painting of a seagull in flight that you've ever seen. It's probably to match the scale of his EC Comics plaque of the giant dead fish plaque in his wall. This is the only thing that dwarfs it.
Don't forget, he's got gigantic barren walls. That apartment is like 2 lofts, like split down the middle and chopped in half. It's so weird. Like he needs that.
He does need a lot of. He's got
It's
a lot
very
of wall space
depressing in there. Just just the idea that he could look at some nature somehow.
Well, I sort of figured it was maybe a callback to the song "Gonna Fly Now," the Rocky theme. I thought maybe that was part of why he chose the gull and
You
flight.
are reaching, my man.
Could be. Then we get to our favorite painting, both of us. Bobby's picked out a realistic rendering of an electrical outlet. It's like something that Andy Warhol has painted, right? It's
So much better. It's like a 4-foot by 3-foot painting of an electrical socket. I loved it.
It's awesome. It's perfectly proportional as a light socket. It looks exact. It's got shading. It looked perfect. So that was my favorite, but that's what Bobby picked out.
This is why we are not part of the art world, you and I.
I think so. I gotta
That
find
thing
if
looks like a thing. I love it.
there's no interpretation necessary. It's just a light socket. Beautiful. Then we pan over and Alex is weirdly staring into the eyes of the bust that he's bought of Plato or whatever.
It's a weird one.
And then Jim has bought this 2001-esque painting of a monolith, kind of with
It's a cloud resting in the middle of a star field or something.
I thought it was like an island in the middle of the water with heavenly lines coming off of it. It was very, very much like what you
art. Ain't it subjective?
So, and then of course Louis walks in and he's bought. I don't know why this would have been on sale at a reputable art auction, but he's bought a cheesy black velvet nude that's like the size. It's huge. It's like 4 foot by 2 foot or something. It's big.
It's a landscape velvet oil painting. It's not a nude, by the way. She's fully clothed.
Sure, but it may as well be a nude. I mean, she's
As
got
a purveyor of velvet paintings, I now am the proud owner of many. I gotta say it was a fine painting.
It was fine.
Of all the art purchased, honestly, that's the one I would probably hang.
Yeah, but you just said you'd want the Bobby's painting of the.
I say I love Bobby's painting, but when I really consider it, I would think, yeah, what are you doing, man? It really is just a wall socket.
But Louise is just an excuse for one final laugh before the show is over. And we get that. That's fine. That is the end of the episode. Now as is our custom, let's talk yellow lights.
What does a yellow light mean?
Just a reminder, we grade these on a scale from 1 to 5 yellow lights. 1 is the worst Taxi episode, and 5 is the best Taxi episode. And as is our custom also, I'm going to throw it to you to give us your grade on artwork, Father Malone.
You can consider me at the golf course, HP, because I'm yelling 4.
4.
4 yellow lights.
Why did you knock it down 1 from perfection? Let me ask that.
I felt the ending was kind of modest.
You're hung up on this Alex thing with the bust.
I didn't like it.
All right.
Also, I didn't like naggy Elaine at the beginning.
Yeah. I didn't mind it so much, and that's why I gave it 5 yellow lights, the coveted 5 yellow lights, because this, as I said before, Father Malone, you can wag you can nod your head or shake your head at me all you want, but this is
of that.
You did. You totally kind of like went like this.
You didn't do that at all. Listeners, he's lying to you.
You gave me the gas face just then. That's what you
I
did.
always give you the gas face. You get the permanent gas face.
Look, Elroy Cohen gets the gas face. My reasons are very simple. This is the rare instance where all of the cabbies are present and involved in the plot. This, to me, is taxi ensemble comedy at its finest. 5 yellow lights from me, 4 yellow lights from Father. Oh,
No. I'm amending mine now.
okay.
I'm going to 3. I'm going to 3 strictly out of spite. Okay.
Why?
Because you came at me for some head thing that didn't occur. So I'm now nullifying your perfect score by removing one of my stars.
Well, you know what? This is being recorded on Zoom. I'll play it back for you and you'll see that you didn't know you were doing it, but you gave me a shake of the head.
Listen, man, I'm bopping, I'm bobbing, I'm weaving. That's what I do over on my end of things. Okay.
But why would you take it
can't
out on
help
the
my
episode?
manic energy.
But why would you take it out on the episode though? That it's done nothing to you.
Who's taking out in the episode?
You did. You're knocking it down one light just because I accuse you of nodding your head.
Right. There are consequences to your actions in Sunshine Cab, my man.
Whatever. You know what? There's such a thing called integrity, Father Malone.
Bing, bing, bing. That's 3 yellow lights.
All right. Anyway, before this thing gets docked even more, we're going to stop it there. 5 from me, 3 from Father Malone. That's going to do it for this episode of Night, Mr. Walters. Father Malone, where can the people find you when you're not clocked into the garage?
I have a show called Midnight Viewing. It's on twice a week. Mondays, it's Father Malone's Weekly Roundup, where we look at all the new stuff that came out over the weekend. And on Fridays, it alternates between the Horror Anthology podcast, where we look at horror anthology television, currently looking at Tales from the Dark Side, and Anthologies Attack, which I do with Antonio Lepore, where we look at anthologies of every variety and genre movie-wise.
I entreat you, check out the Weekly Roundup. It's well, first of all, it's a great primer for the kind of content that you can get from Father Malone. I love it. It's a great capsule of things that are coming out on streaming or any new movies coming out that week. He gives you a leg up on what to expect. He gives his opinion on them. It's funny. I just love it. It's great. It's a great way to start your week. And I'm going to, you know what, Father Malone? I'm going to listen to that as soon as we're done recording this. That's what I'm going to do.
I'm sorry.
So, as for myself, you can find me also in other areas of the Weirding Way Network. I do a podcast. I've taken over a podcast called Noise Junkies, which is a music podcast that I've been enjoying doing. Some new episodes dropping on that, so please check that out. I'm also an occasional guest on the Culture Cast with Chris Dashew. And I have a Bandcamp site, hpmusicplace.bandcamp.com. Hey, Father Malone, I just dropped a new album.
Oh my God, yes, you did. It's really
finally.
Yeah, man.
It's been how many years of me saying, whoa, new content. So it's an album called Wired and Waiting. I'm very, very pleased with it. If you like kind of 80s synthwave, synth pop, old 80s action movie soundtrack stuff, this is, I got you covered. Please check it out. It's free to listen to.
Some quarter flash in there too, man. I've heard some quarter flash in there.
I don't have any saxophone though.
You don't need sax to be quarter flashy.
Right. That's fair. Anyway, it was a lot of fun to do, and I'm so proud of this new album. So please check it out. I think you'll be happy listening to it. So anyway, like I said, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you for listening. Please feel free to subscribe to this podcast, write a review, or rate us. We'd love to hear from you in any manner you see fit. So for myself and for Father Malone, thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Night, Mr. Walters.
Hello, my name is Kevin Tudor, and I'm one of the 3 hosts of Almost Major, a film podcast dissecting many major indie studios and the films they release. Every week, myself, Charlie Nash, and Bryden Doyle discuss overlooked, forgotten, or bona fide classic indie films via studio-specific miniseries. We've previously covered numerous films from Artisan Entertainment, Lionsgate Films, and New Line Cinema. Titles including The Blair Witch Project, American Psycho, Dogville, But I'm a Cheerleader, Saw, Requiem for a Dream, and Ringmaster, you know, the Jerry Springer film. Anyways, we have a fun time every week, and we hope you will join us. Subscribe to Almost Major wherever you get your podcasts. Now proudly a part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.